Do you want to know what the fallen are, little one? In a sense, they are angels, but not the angels your mom imagines she prays to. Brass trumpets picnicking in the clouds. In their true essence, they are great swirling engines of wing and blood, fiery eyes that peer around the corners between worlds. Dark, radiant things conjured from fresh battlefields. A Frankenstein's Valkyrie, forever crashing to Midgard. What grief demands their hate, what vast cannibal hunger.
Welcome to the Fallen Cycle Mythos Fiction Podcast. This universe is full of secrets, waiting for those brave or foolhardy enough to seek them out. Cycle 2, Party at the World's End. Take a mad ride past the event horizon of sanity, as Lilith and her band of miscreants transcend from escaped convicts to superstars of a different kind. They grapple with the intoxication of growing influence. This is the story of those fallen who walk amongst us in a universe where 2012 went a bit differently, and hints of the world that is to come. Discover more about the Fallen Cycle mythos, including comics, novels, setting lore, and an RPG currently in development at fallencycle.com. And for our discussion and actual play exploration of RPG system and setting, visit modernmythology.net. This podcast contains adult themes and may induce psychosis. And now on with the show.
Season 5. Chapter 8, Train 'em Young, 2012. Hustlers of the world, there is one mark you cannot beat, the mark within. Bradley, the buyer. Through the movie screen of the porthole windows which line the sides of the behemoth, day and night, mountains and plains, sky and forest, all seemed to blur. They were like kids with new toys. Here was a land with no boundaries or rules, a liminal space where creativity ruled and reality was what you liked. Rehearsing was the closest anything came to being a chore or a bore. And sore fingers and aching tendons were nothing compared to the excitement of creating a new language with tribe that somehow seemed to get you. An identity captured somehow, without irony, by the mythic illusion of their nicknames. Of course, life on the road wasn't without its snags. It had been raining hard, maybe a week or two, since they had left Grand Junction. As was often the case, Loki was driving. Lilith was riding shotgun, tapping away on her netbook. There was a crackle in the air, and conversation ceased a while. Then she snorted, in delayed response to something he had said minutes before. Why is this still a question? Loki dragged on his cigarette. It's posture, strategy. You can't be fugitives and rock stars. You can't book the Hollywood fucking bowl. But you can drive a giant armored bumblebee, Lilith said. Fair point. Though that was against my strong, and might I say correct, urging to the contrary. But any venue big enough to be worth the risk is... Loki drummed his fingers on the steering wheel. It's what? If this was about getting clear, you know damn well none of it. Shut up, Loki said. Would be... What did you just say to me? I'm thinking. You like it when I think. He continued drumming his fingers. Lilith swallowed a retort and continued typing. All right. Yes, in theory, you can be both fugitives and rock gods. But in practice, it's impossible. Lilith shrugged. Try me. Resources first. Who's footing the bill? I am, or my backers are anyway, Lilith said. Give me your vision here, maestro. Swarm, concentrate, disperse. Flash mobs, but fucking huge. Decentralization. Loki thought for a minute. Mother Hive brain. Dionysus piped in from his bunk. The Hive acts without any discernible decision-making. At any level? Yeah. But that was a joke, compared to what we're talking about now, Loki said. Hold on. Let me finish a thought for Christ's sake. Lilith finished typing and turned her netbook to face Loki. He was being recorded. Go on. You're a part of it. Find your 6 best friends. Determine your level of commitment. Stay in touch. Take turns listening. Word goes out from group to group. You pass it around. Call, tweet, and write. Lipstick on a mirror. I don't give a fuck. As long as someone else is listening and tells their 6 friends. You six may get the word that you will help people park. You six deal with renting latrines. You six to... Latrines? Lilith asked. 6 per cell. Each cell notifies 2 others. How many people in 6 iterations? Lilith laughed. You know, I like how you think I can do that. Don't you? I'm onto your shit, Loki said, waving a finger. Lilith doodled on a napkin. Tens of thousands or millions, depending on how you figure it. And you're also assuming, how would you put it? No signal degradation. Amateurs study tactics. Professionals study logistics, Loki said, cryptically. And yeah, hypothetically, you need the draw of 2-pack, or to catch the zeitgeist at some tipping point. Have you served yet? Lilith asked impatiently. Loki's hands tightened on the steering wheel. The big idea levity had drained from his face. No, he took a breath. 6, tell 6 where and when, 6 times, and you've got your Hollywood bowl. You missed your calling, you know that? Lilith asked. Loki finally smiled. You'd miss our little talks. About a month later, the behemoth wound its way along a lonely dirt road, running through a densely knit patchwork of forest and open field. The GPS voice spoke in its usual monotone. John Cleese had gotten old after the first 1,000 miles. Make a left 300 yards ahead. There is no left 300 yards ahead, Loki said. Trust to your machine overlords, Dionysus said. I think it means we're supposed to go off-roading, Jesus said. Look. There was an even smaller dirt road, barely larger than a path, which cut off up ahead. You've got to be fucking kidding me, Loki said. No, Lilith said. This looks right to me. They bumped their way down the smaller dirt path, and it opened up into a field. They were surrounded by other cars, vans, and tents. Strings of electric lights crisscrossed the thickets that covered the hills, edging the field. And dew sparkled like starlight in their headlights. But even those bright beams were quickly swamped by clusters of dancing orbs and glowing bodies. What are those? Loki asked, squinting ahead. Then the field broadened, and they could see festival kids running around mostly naked, a mess of glow-paint occult glyphs and LEDs. They rolled through another patch of trees and then into another field, with a barn and farmhouse at its furthest corner. The barn was crawling with bodies, a wall of tits and bellies, like the inside of an active beehive, all thrumming and quivering, dance-signing the location of nearby pollen to one another. Lilith? Loki said. She chuckled. Your plan, pal. I just ran with it. Made a few calls. Loki shook his head, and here were 6 sweaty kids waiting to help them set up gear on stage. As the speaker walls and drum kit were being assembled, the crowd began chanting, Babylon! 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 You could have made 7 figures a year on Madison Avenue, you know that? Loki asked Lilith. I suppose that wouldn't be nearly as fun. Their set had already become carnivalesque, a mashup of genres and performances. Lilith had started calling it circus, and that seemed fitting. She had her hands in everything and seemed to know someone wherever they went. Chameleon was an understatement. Whether it was style of clothing, music, or identity, it was typical for her to go through several wardrobe changes an evening. For now, the band waited. Cody peered at the tuner lights twinkling in the near dark, somehow looking like an owl with a beat-up cowboy hat. Dionysus fidgeted with his sticks. Jesus, her bass hanging low between her legs, was inspecting her makeup in a small hand mirror. A wall of compressors, limiters, EQs, and effect units blinked back at them. The PAs were in place, and the sound girl gave thumbs up from her cubbyhole in the corner, her blacklight makeup like a kabuki demon. In the pulses of regular light, her face reverted to human dimensions, a pierced geisha in dayglow kimono. The drums and bass pounded out a rhythm. Cody's head bobbed along. He would enter with a descending melody halfway through the next bar, and then dig into rhythmic chugging on the one of the next measure. But the real rush wouldn't come until the vocal unison joined the pack. Lilith waited for her cue, her slender hands resting on her hips, her weight on the balls of her feet, her lips twisted into a victorious smirk, drinking down the howl of the audience as if it was Bordeaux. Finally, the lights hit, and then the adrenaline. The speakers struggled to keep pace with the wild ululation of the crowd. Terrifying vibrations rocked the barn to its foundations. Strobe and laser flashes rippled through the darkness. Bodies and light seemed to twine around, between, and through each other. By the second song, a patch of baseball cap wearing fans, standing near the front, was bowled over by a group of women. They pushed past the first row and crawled on stage. Lilith beckoned them as she belted out the last note before Cody's solo. It seemed a part of the performance when they charged her, but her eyes registered surprise as the throng overran her, esurient mouths licking, gnawing, and biting at her curves. Dionysus tried to peer through the toms, but could only see flailing body parts. He shook his head, sweat shooting off in a spray, and focused on the click track in his earphone. She crawled out of the tangle, catching the pickup for the next song. Eventually, the performance ended, but the party continued raging as if it had never stopped. Dionysus floated in the post-show void, staring at the drumsticks in his hand.
The roof of the venue drifted away, painted increasingly dark shades of slate blue by strata of smog whirling past. Clouds and silken shadow swallowed both the snake-like peninsula of Baja and the curve of California. The earth herself was a bobbing speck of dirt, caught in a tide of darkness. Blazing suns, each the size of a thimble in the ocean, hurtled away into blackness. There was a fluttering in the void, like stitches in a sweater. No, it was a cell. An army of cells. A hand. My hand.
Lilith watched Dionysus stare at his hands. He was clearly deep in the grips of some revelation. Maybe the potent mescaline she'd slipped into his canteen was having some effect. "Could I dive back into them and find the universe?" Dionysus asked her. "Someday I'll show you," she said. "Now, we play." He continued to stare at the creases in his hands, murmuring as if in a trance. "The audience is a thousand-eyed beast, and we are just the empty puppet who dances at its pleasure. We feed one another symbiotically. One and yet two, a baby suckling at its mother's breast. All pain, all need, all separation is absolved." Lilith pulled him close and kissed him. His pupils were saucers that could swallow the moon, should saucers choose to do such a thing. "You're never going to get anywhere with all your talking," she said, flashing a quick smile before wandering off stage. Dionysus nodded and looked over at Jesus. She was unplugging her gear. Loki was talking to a woman with a crossbow. Tala, she'd said her name was. She had curly dark hair, a dancer's build, and honey skin. In a fluid movement, Lilith swept down on the girls who had flocked her during the show and seemed to propel them past the makeshift stage. "This party's beat," she called after the band. "Let's go!" Loki was stunned. "With this much energy, we can't just leave it lying around. We've got to do something with it." Lilith shrugged. "I've had my fill. Come on. I know where we should all go. 4 stars? Hot tub? Trust me." Dionysus perked up. "Hot tub?" Loki gave a nod to the breakdown crew, who jumped to action. The party continued madly, ignorant of the band slipping out the back. From buses to dorm rooms, across the screens of cell phones, laptops, and flat panels, the show and ensuing chaos broadcast through the minds of a dormant, desperate populace. "You having fun yet, you grumpy son of a bitch? There was a time that you weren't so grumpy. They even used to call you a trickster," Lilith said to Loki. She was stretched out in the passenger seat, one of the girls sitting on her lap sucking a lollipop, her face an elaborately painted pincushion of piercings. "Hush, it's still sinking in. You have any idea what you've done here? Fugitives? To guerrilla rock demagogues in what? Several months?" he asked, semi-rhetorically. She shrugged. They kept passing the lollipop back and forth, not breaking eye contact. "No plan, though." "That's your job," she smiled. Loki nodded, making a mental note to start chain-smoking in no more than 30 seconds. The challenge thrilled him, even if it made him anxious as fuck trying to keep this band of nutcases out of jail or worse. "What's your name?" the girl on Lilith's lap asked him. "Loki." "Amber. I did sound at the show." Lilith interrupted by shoving her tongue down Amber's throat. "Okay then," Loki thought. He felt a rumble in his chest, and instinctively swerved into the other lane. A sedan shot past, its subwoofers rattling the equipment. "Fucking savages," he screamed out the window, before accelerating and changing lanes again, the bulk of the behemoth forcing them onto the shoulder. He thought he heard the sound of guardrail, shrieking against paint job as he shot away. Now, he was having fun. He caught an image in the rear view, lit vividly but momentarily by passing headlights. A strip of a disembodied shapely leg, wreathed in red fishnet. Probably the girl Lilith had introduced as Amanda. She was elfin, even tiny, but far from frail. Mary, another who had joined their group, had long dark hair and skin, charcoal eyes. One of those quiet, watching types. The group in the back was sitting in a circle, passing around a hookah, which let out great clouds of hash and opium smoke. Cody was silhouetted behind them as he leaned against the window, clearly drunk, strumming on his guitar. Some experimental Italian film was playing on the large screen monitor, with the sound shut off. Loki was catching fragments of conversation, but couldn't place it all. "What do you mean? Don't play with me. I don't..." There was a burst of laughter. "What? I can't make eyes at you and get pretty much everything that I want? Cut it out. I'm not playing." "Sure you are." "No, damn it. Answer the question. Then ask it to me straight." "Semiotic invisibility?" Dionysus was saying, clearly on another tangent. "Really, it's just a matter of misdirection and sorting. What use you are sorting for." "Sorting?" Jesus asked, letting out a great deal of smoke at the same time. "Oh, sure. If you're looking for a drink, you go to the guy behind the bar, not the introvert in the corner. It's an old trick. Mismatch. You're not the droids they're looking for. Conform to expectation. When they retell the story, you're not there." Amanda shook her head at Dionysus disparagingly, her bangs bouncing to and fro, but she leaned her head against his shoulder. When she looked up at him with those two wide eyes, he knew he was in trouble. "I can dig it," Jesus said, not really paying attention. Mary was oiling her feet. Loki tossed cigarette number 2 out the window. "It's really..." Dionysus started. Loki cut in. "Okay, I'm sorry, I gotta ask. You were drowning in pussy back there, and you want to talk about invisibility and sorting? Well, yeah. Why?" Amanda scowled. The expression fit strangely on her face. "Excuse me, I'm not pussy." "Don't take it personally," Dionysus said. "Loki 1.0 runs software programmed in an object-oriented language. It undervalues subjective things like emotions or self-consciousness." Loki laughed and shook his head. There must be some reason why he liked that bastard so much. But what he said was, "Consciousness is post hoc." "Post hoc ergo propter hoc," Dionysus screamed back. "Oh, shut up. You don't even know Latin." "Sorry to interrupt whatever it is you're talking about. But where are we going anyway?" Tala asked. She was going by Artemis now, but sat poised as if she thought she was Lefem Nikita, one hand on her crossbow. That girl was a special sort. Introduced herself as part of Lilith's security detail at the show. When Loki jokingly asked for her credentials, she showed the crossbow. This made her crazy, cause she could use it, or crazy cause she couldn't. Either way. "A hotel," Lilith said, putting Amber's lollipop back in her mouth. "I put it in the GPS already. You're going to love it." "How are we paying for this little venture?" Loki asked. "We? Paying? Are you joking?" Loki nodded. "I'm starting to like you, kid." The behemoth pulled into a gas station, belching out clouds of exhaust. They all stepped into the night air, stretching their legs and blinking in the harsh glow of the lamps set in the overhang. All except Cody, who had passed out face down on his guitar after loudly declaring, "Nap time." Loki shook his head. $4.96 a gallon. Jesus Christ. The rest of them sauntered inside as he fueled the monster. A long line of fashion victims, methed-out truckers, nervous businessmen, and suburban housewives trailed from the counter to the back of the store, where there was a rusted, metal box endlessly rotating, shriveled meat turds. Jesus sauntered to the fore, nearly 7 feet tall in her platforms and wearing a long pleated leather skirt. "Whew," she said loudly. "After an orgy like that one, I sure could use a hot tub." The rest of the line went dead silent. The final stop of the evening was an incredibly overpriced hotel. A valet approached them uncertainly. "Leave the keys in the, truck?" "The fuck I will. Just tell me where to park," Loki said. The side door opened, and the valet's jaw followed suit. "The hotel doors glide," Loki marveled. That was how he knew the place was $500 a night. The lobby was ultra-modern, and all the furniture looked like Escher designed it. "Is that supposed to be a chair?" Loki asked. Dionysus squinted. "I think it's decorative." "A decorative chair?" "Come on," Dionysus said. A crowd of attendants, bellhops, and random hotel lobby stragglers stared in bewilderment as their little army approached the concierge. Their boots and heels clicked loudly on the marble floor. Do you have a reservation?" the concierge asked. "Watch and learn," she said to Loki. Then, "Hey," to the concierge, all smiles and breasts.
Everything clustered around one focal point, a sublimely tranquil red center, surrounded in the black fluttering of the mob. At first, I can't clearly make out this center. I perch on the tip of my toes despite myself, and then I see what the commotion is about. My god. No, my goddess. The rest are a pastiche of whatever they're passing off as punk rock or beatnik these days. This goddess shouldn't surround herself with such garbage. I'm left clutching the table and reeling by the time we're face to face. What is it that you've always craved, that's always pulled you through another day? And what would you do if it suddenly manifested in front of you, clothed in downy skin? Anything they say. She's talking fast now, and for the first time in my life, the only thing I can think about is myself. That's funny, right? I'm hypnotized by the smell of her breath, sweat, and perfume. And all I can think about is me. Climbing an endless ladder, pieces of myself doled out slowly, almost imperceptibly, in exchange for another rung. A grand luxury suite, 1,400 square feet. Yes. What has this long life of service given me? My best instincts reel, but I see my hands floating over the keypad. I see the keycard grasped so delicately between her candy-tipped fingers. Fuck this place. I don't care. Here is your room card, Miss Parsons.
The troupe made their way to the elevator, Lilith in the lead with the keycard in her hand. "That was like some kind of Jedi mind trick you just did there," Mary said. "And did I hear that right, Miss Parsons? Like Jet Propulsion Laboratory occult nut, L. Ron stole his cash and started Scientology with it, Parsons?" Dionysus asked. They stopped at the elevator. "I really don't feel like talking about my grandfather," Lilith said with a shrug. The elevator dinged, and the doors closed behind them. It was packed tight. The troupe, a nervous, middle-aged businessman, and his shrew-faced wife. Ding. A momentary wave of nausea passed through all of them. Amber coiled around Lilith like a garment. Ding. Another floor. The man scowled, but refused to make eye contact. "How do you do?" Jesus asked. "All right," he said. Ding. More shuffling, and finally he blurted out, "What the hell are you people?" "We are like nuns," Jesus said. They all giggled. "Nuns?" "Mm-hmm. The Sisterhood of Lilith. Here to take everything you have, and leave you begging for us to take whatever's left." Jesus slid next to the businessman and winked. The man swallowed, hard. She put her arm around his shoulder. "I know what you look at when you're up alone in the dead of night. You dirty, dirty boy. His wife looked away, blushing. Ding! Their floor. They stumbled down the hallway, high on giddiness, lust, and hash. A maid rushed past, saying Hail Marys to herself as she went. They approached the door to room 777. Lilith turned to Loki before opening the door. Wait here. We need a guard. What? You want me to sleep in the damn hallway? He asked. You've got thinking to do. I like it when you think. She winked at him. Look, I'm not like the concierge. It's not like I see your breasts and suddenly I'm just a brainstem attached to a penis. Lilith shook her head. It was about catering to his delusions. The breasts only get you in the door. Anyway, listen. If you need something to keep those industrious hands occupied, I could really use the smoke detectors in our room shut off. Within about 10 minutes? That's not... Artemis patted her crossbow. How the fuck did she get that in here? I'll help. If you don't mind, that is. I don't... Screw it, why not? He said. Lilith let the others in, and then shut the door behind her with a loud click. The corner suite had the same aesthetic as the rest of the hotel, full of hard lines and stark, incoherent furniture. Amanda whistled. These are some digs. How much did this cost? Don't worry about that, Lilith said. Girls, there's a hot tub in there, just dying to meet you. Mary, Amber, and Amanda looked at one another uncertainly. Jesus began sauntering towards the bathroom. Not you, hun, Lilith said. Jesus frowned. What, I'm not a lady? I said girls. Point. But I do make bathing an exacting art. I bet you do, Lilith said, walking up to her and patting her ass. New initiates. Wheat from the chaff, she continued, after the three of them were already in the bathroom. With a silk bag casually flung over her shoulder, Lilith followed, closing the door behind her. Cody swaggered to a nearby sofa and dropped onto it heavily. He managed to finish the bottle of whiskey he'd been nursing all night before passing out, still sitting up. Jesus and Dionysus looked at each other. Dionysus sighed, but then smiled wearily. I was really excited about the hot tub too. Lilith handed a bundle of candles to Amber and contemplated the layout of the room. Not the bathhouses of Tiberius in ancient Rome, but it would do. Most importantly, the hot tub could accommodate 3. She made a circular gesture at Amber, who nodded and began placing them around the hot tub. Lilith sat down by the bath and turned the faucet. Leave your clothes over there, she said, motioning to the far corner of the room. Don't be shy. I've seen it all before. Not that you aren't fine specimens. They did as instructed and stood somewhat awkwardly in the center of the room. Lilith began lighting the candles. Ardat Lili Lamashtu. Ahi Hai Lilitu. She snapped restraints on Mary and Amber's wrists, but when she approached Amanda, she pulled away. Now hold on a second. I don't even... Lilith grabbed her by the throat. You bought the ticket, now take the ride. She let go. Amanda rubbed her neck for a moment. Christ, you're strong. She felt a strange thrill. Her cheeks burned. Lilith smiled and bound Amanda's hands as well. I'm not a fan of empty talk, but I'm going to tell you something that Rosencrantz, Guildenstern, Hedwig, and MacGyver out there haven't figured out for themselves yet. We are the scions of eternity. My memory goes all the way back to ancient Babylon. You're serious? Amanda asked. Women told tales of my horrors. I would steal the men away from them, they said. I would devour their children. I was Lilitu, a demon, an abomination. I lived inside mirrors to seduce the vanity of nubile girls. Can you imagine? They were afraid of me. I was a demon of the desert, screaming down from the mountains, howling in the winds. The Babylonians heard me and were terrified. They built walls around that city, in part because of their fear of me, though it was when I slipped into the beds of their husbands, of their wives, that their witches and priests were called out to curse me. Mere gibberish spat my way by day, but as the moon crested the valley, there I was, smiling, 3, 4, or 8 girls on my arm, like you. The summer tree, they'll call me. I know. It's been a long time since I remembered who I was, who I will be. I don't plan to forget again. Not surprisingly, the other girls had ceased whatever they were doing and stared at this woman as she spoke. You're probably thinking I'm crazy, and at the same time wondering about all the voices in your head that won't let you sleep at night. I've come to find my sisters. None of you needs to hide anymore. I know just how awful it can be, living in someone else's world. And we don't always remember. Lilith put her hand under the faucet, testing the temperature. It can take a real shock to bring it to the surface. First, I've got to draw this bath. Now I know why you shackled us before telling us your little story, Amanda said. This is some right freaky shit, Amber agreed. Lilith laughed. I like you. I hope you make it through in one piece. One piece? Ignoring the question, Lilith felt the water one last time before turning it off. She got out bronze incense burners, dropped herbs in, and lit them. Thick black smoke filled the room. I also hope he got to the alarms, or this is going to be short-lived. She waited, looking up. Nothing. No? Okay then, it's time. Get in. The room seemed to distort with the swirling smoke. The girls slipped into the water. Breathe in deeply. Let all of it into your lungs. Breathe in and out. So you're going to drug us, and then we can attribute the effects of the... Wait, what the fuck? Amanda felt strange. Nothing like LSD. What is it doing to me? She felt around the side of the tub before sliding into the water. Her muscles didn't seem to want to respond properly. This wasn't the rubbery limbs or clenched teeth of hallucinogens. Instead, she felt a void opening beneath her in the frothy water. It was a void of time, clouded over with fragments of memory. In that formless void, she could nevertheless sense some kind of presence. But how do we know when someone is staring daggers into the back of our heads? No time to worry now. We're clearing out your illusions, Lilith said. She put a hand on Amanda's forehead. Take your last breath. Wait! Lilith plunged her under the water and broke into fractals on its surface.
She was 17 again, clad in tight denim and a band t-shirt. Earbuds dangled like earrings from her ears. 5 feet of wristbands, tattoos, and attitude. Riding a bus to anywhere but here. There was no way she could explain to the tear and mascara-stained eyes of her sister why she knew she had to leave. It was more like the pressure before a big storm hits. The leaves turn up, there's a faint smell of petrichor in the air, and if you are wise to it, you get the hell out. Most people don't drop everything on a whim like that, but for her, even on a regular day, it was common practice. Winding up like everyone else in that miserable town was worse than any fate she could dream of. There had been a price even if she knew it was the right choice and the only choice she could have made. Her sister never called her sis again, never told her she loved her. She became a distant, cold Amanda, delivered on the other end of a phone before she was passed on to their neurotic, equally distant, and ever-confused mother. The bus ride that followed their parting was the longest trip of her life. As she sat stewing in emotional denial, the incredibly flatulent, obese man who sat beside her the whole way from Biloxi to El Paso leered over at her as if they were sharing some private joke. His eyes surrounded by crinkles like bald aluminum foil. He shot her a disappointed look before he swaggered off at his stop. El Paso spread about her, and she suddenly felt trapped by the world, its expansive blandness, its squat buildings and steel-choked skies. In that moment, The whole universe was El Paso, and she was just some piece of trash blowing through on the listless wind. Her head sunk into her hands after she saw his baseball cap disappear into a crowd of weary faces. Maybe the fat bastard expected a blowjob in the bathroom?
Lilith pulled Amanda out of the water. She was half conscious, hyperventilating. Her eyes rolled up into her head. Lilith seemed pleased. "Is this supposed to happen?" Mary asked. "Should we call 911? Lilith stared her down. "This world is ending. There is no getting out." She plunged her under the water again. Mary turned her raccooned eyes toward Amber, who shrugged and deftly cut out a line of ecstasy on a dry part of tile, not in the least restricted by bound hands.
Her eyes snapped open. She tumbled through empty space, landing in a stone labyrinth. Implacable wailing greeted her as she entered light and open air. Squinting, she spun around and saw an old bristlecone pine, heavy with babies suspended by their navels from red, pulsing limbs. At first, all she could hear was her heart, working hard to rush blood through terrified extremities. Drums beat in the distance. She felt an immediate sense of peril and got to her feet. Strange murals, gouged with bleeding fingernails, children's paintings and graffiti lined the walls. She followed a length of rope through the maze. The ground was spongy, which made progress slow and exhausting. She heard hooves beating on the stone, drawing nearer. Panic overrode every nerve and she ran, her mouth open in a voiceless scream.
Amanda was screaming and thrashing helplessly in the hot tub. Mary and Amber tried to hold her still. Lilith was chanting something guttural. Neither understood the words, but how would they, when the language hadn't been spoken outside academies in thousands of years?
She ran, not knowing what from, only that it was terrible and swift. There wasn't time to think. She fled on shredded feet along a riverbank, through the cold and the wet and the wind. She was underneath the world she knew, retracing her steps along the river and out of the valley. The rope, often knotted, mingled with mud or blood, oil and bones, continued deeper in, and she followed it. Twisted buildings coiled around her as she fled through their remains. The collapsing structures were split through their hearts by trees and vines. The constriction of their limbs twisted basketball hoops in rusted arcs. SUVs toppled and bent. Whole buildings crumbled as nature reclaimed it all, chewing it slowly as it recycled the materials once ripped from the earth. Silhouette stood amidst the rubble. Occasionally she would stumble on a root or a discarded children's toy. Some people stood idly, trying to rebuild homes, as plumes of smoke and fog swirled overhead like peacock feathers. Police sirens cried out in the distance, startling her. It is a lost cause, she thought. I don't know why I just thought that. I am her. I'm looking down at my hands as I walk. If I look away from them, even for a moment, I feel that I might be swept away by an uncontrollable tide. I may become someone else. I'm still looking at my hands as I glide past an apparition, but aware now in some growing premonition of who I am in this endless flow of lonely faces. I can't help them. These people are already dead. I climb atop a log, straddling it in the water as if riding a bucking horse. The crowd disappears back into the mist as I float away, apparitions themselves. Still in a delirium, I look at my reflection in a slender dagger, gently held close to my breast, a silver sliver of lips and eyes. The knife flicked along my neck, bringing a gout of sweet-smelling blood. It rushed down my body in a hot stream past my breasts and the small oval of my belly to the black water below, black and polluted. As the blood merges with the water, it runs clear. Soon, I could see the rocks at the bottom of the stream. I'm dreaming, but this is real. Wake up, Ariadne, says a voice in my head. Who are you? I ask. Wake up, it says again, and I do.
Lilith smacked Amanda across the face. Her breathing returned to normal. Where am I? Hey, Mary said, stroking her hair. I was worried. Where am I? Amanda repeated. You're with me. You're safe, Lilith said. She inspected her eyes, as if looking through them. What did you see? It was a few years ago, and then it was... You know how it is when you're in a dream, and it can be many times at once. Maybe that doesn't make sense. Lilith smiled. It makes perfect sense. An overlapping of many places and times. She blinked. I don't know. To get there from here, you've got to muck through dream along the way, Lilith said. But the true state, who you are, what you are, it's before birth, after death. What's the future or the past once you take away the present? Amanda scrutinized her face. I don't know, she said again. You will, and when you do, you'll get one of these. Lilith indicated an Ouroboros tattoo on her arm, a snake swallowing its tail round its length. Maybe? I heard a voice. What did it say, dear? It called me Ariadne, the, mistress of the labyrinth. Lilith kissed her on the forehead. And from now on, so shall we, sister. Ariadne raised an eyebrow in confusion, but then relaxed into Lilith's embrace. It didn't take Dionysus and Jesus long to find the Xbox. The two of them were presently enmeshed in some horribly complicated space battle. You don't think they need our help in there, do you? Dionysus asked. Shut up and die, monkeyman, Jesus said. Mushrooms? She held up a bruised blue cap. Dionysus shook his head. He began mashing on his controller, a crazed look in his eye. Lilith pulled Amber out of the water by her hair with a splash. She gasped and spluttered. I couldn't breathe. After inspecting her for a moment, Lilith chuckled. Ariadne, Mary, we're done for now. The smoke in the room was clearing. The two of them wrapped themselves in thick, complementary bathrobes before slipping out to rejoin the others. What about me? Amber asked suggestively. Give me a girl with holes in her eyes and stars on her garters. Oh, give me a girl with scars on her hands and the heart of a whore, Lilith sang.
You have been listening to the Fallen Cycle Mythos podcast. Keep subscribed to receive new episodes as they are released at fallencycle.com or on the podcasting service of your choice. Party at the World's End was written by James Curcio. Thanks to J.F. Stackhouse and Nate Samsel for collaborating on early drafts of this story. The soundtrack was produced by James Curcio, with special thanks to various creative collaborators for inspiration and soundtrack source from old sessions, including, in no particular order, Scott Landis, Sean Marsden, Jen E., Gaetan, Sarah and Rahul Iyer, Martine Della Ruffa, David Bessel, Ari, and Nate Samsel. Cut the Sky's Throat, an album selected from this feature's soundtrack, is free to stream and will be available on Bandcamp. Music by Lilith, Dionysus, Cody, Jesus, and Ariadne. A statement on the use of neural networks is available on our website for those curious about how we do and don't use these technologies. This podcast is Creative Commons 3.0, Attribution, Share and Share alike, non-commercial use.